Hey guys, welcome back to Stock My Closet. For today's project, I have taken 2.25 meter cotton fabric and fabric width is 42 inch. And this is the measurement I'm using. You can adjust it according to your requirement. Let's start with the cutting. Firstly, I'll cut front part of the joggers, and for that I have cut out the required length, that is bottom length plus 1.5 inch for volume in the leg plus 1.5 inch for bottom seam allowance and 0.5 inch for seam allowance on the top. So 36 plus 1.5 plus 1.5 plus 0.5 is 39.5 inch. Now I'll mark the measurements. Firstly, I'll leave half inch of seam allowance on the top. Now I'll mark the waist measurement, that is hip round plus ease divided by 4. In my measurement, hip round is 38 inch and I'm adding 6 inch of ease. 38 plus 6 is 44 and dividing it by 4, I'll get 11 inch. So I'll mark a point at 11 inch. Next is crotch measurement. And for that, divide hip measurement by 3. In my measurement, hip round is 38 inch. 38 divided by 3 is 12.5 inch. I'll leave 1 inch on the top for belt and I'll mark a point at 12.5 inch. Extend this point. Now I'll mark upper thigh measurement, that is thigh round plus ease divided by 2. In my measurement, upper thigh round is 24 inch and I'm adding 6 inch of ease. 24 plus 6 is 30 and dividing it by 2, I'll get 15 inch. Now I'll draw front crotch curve. Now I'll mark the length, that is 37.5 inch. On the bottom, I have taken 1.5 inch for seam allowance. Now I'll mark bottom round, that is 9.5 inch in my measurement. And now I'll join bottom with the crotch with a curve ruler, adding 1 inch of seam allowance on the sides. And quarter inch of seam allowance on the crotch. So with this, marking is complete. Now I'll cut it out. Now I'll cut the back. For back length, I have cut out 42.5 inch, that is 3 inch more than the front length. Fabric width is same, 21 inch. I have folded the fabric by half in width. So here I have 2 layers of fabric. Now place the front on the back. Join both pieces from the bottom side. Now extend front crotch point to the top like this and join that point with the front waist with the slant line. Now for back, I'll extend front crotch width by 2 inch and bottom by 1.25 inch. Join these points. I have made back crotch curve and I have added 1 inch of seam allowance on the side and quarter inch of seam allowance on the crotch curve. And now I'll cut it out. So I've cut both front and back pieces. I'll cut belt after stitching both pieces together. So for stitching, join one piece of front and one piece of back, right sides together and make a side stitch. So I made a stitch. Now I'll overlock it. So I have stitched side seam on both legs. Now join both pieces together, back with the back and front with the front. And now I'll stitch the crotch curve. So I made a stitch. Now I'll overlock it. So I've stitched crotch curve on both front and back side. Now open it like this. Match front and back crotch curve seams. Now I'll stitch the center seam. So I've stitched the center seam. Now I'll finish the bottom round. And for that I have folded and ironed the seam allowance. And for bottom I'm using 1/2 inch wide elastic. So I've pinned it up and now I'll make a stitch on the edge to secure it. Here I'll leave around 1 inch of space to insert the elastic. And now I'll insert the elastic using safety pin. So I've inserted the elastic. Now join and overlap both ends and make few stitches to secure it. So I've stitched it. Now stretch the elastic like this. And now I'll close the opening. Now I'll make the top stitch on the center of the elastic. So I made a stitch and this is how it will look. Similarly, I'll finish the other side. Now I'll attach the belt. So here I have cut out the belt in two pieces. To cut the belt, measure the bottom waist. This is around 51 inch and I have taken belt width 3.5 inch as I'm using 1 inch wide elastic. Now to attach the belt, place right side of belt on the wrong side of the bottom waist. I have already pinned it up. And now I'll make a stitch all around the waist, leaving 1/2 inch for seam allowance. So I made a stitch and this is how it will look. This is from the wrong side. Now fold the belt by half and fold around quarter-inch of seam allowance like this. And now I'll pin it up. It's your choice. If you want to stitch directly, you can make a stitch or you can iron it. Now similarly, I'll just pin up the whole belt and then I'll make a stitch on the edge, leaving 1 inch of space to insert the elastic. So I made a stitch and now I'll insert the elastic using safety pin. I have cut out elastic according to the waist measurement. In my measurement, waist round is 31 inch and I have taken elastic 30 inch, including 1 inch of seam allowance. So I've inserted the elastic. Now overlap both ends like this and make few stitches to secure it. So I made the stitches and now I'll just stretch the elastic. And now I'll just close the opening and I'll make 1 or 2 stitches on the belt to keep the elastic in place. And with this my joggers are ready and this is how it looks. I really like this pattern, another very comfortable variation of palazzo for summers. So thanks for watching guys. I really hope you like this pattern and if you give it a try, do share your creations with me on social media and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family and do subscribe my channel for more such videos. I'll see you next week. Till then, take care. Bye bye.